Alright, what's up everyone? For everyone that's tuning into the stream now or has been watching, I want to let you guys know that I'm doing a series or talk every time I start my stream about certain topics that I've been reading about, because I've been reading a lot lately and I feel like it's been changing my perspective and changing my mindset about success and about fulfillment and about becoming the person that you want, that I want to be, or that you want to be in the future. And so I wanted to share that with everyone that stops by the stream, because I want to make sure that if you're here spending your time with me, that you're not only enjoying yourself, but you're becoming a better person, and you're becoming that person that you want to be in the future. And so today's talk, I'm going to be talking about perspective and about the pursuit of happiness, and like what it means to me, and what I feel like people can take from that to improve their own lives and their own journey. And so I think the first thing that I want to talk about is like the definition of success. And so remember that I think one of the hardest things for me to deal with is to know that everyone's definition of success is different. And so like your mom and dad's definition of success is going to be different from your definition of success. And if you follow someone else's vision for your life, then you may or may not be fulfilled. And so really think about what it is you want in your life, write it down, and then continue to pursue that every single day. Going back to like the definition of success, like remember that you need to define what your own definition of success is, so that whenever you hear criticism from others, like you know that you already made your decision and you won't waver from anything like that. Second thing that I want to talk about is, once you define your definition of success, you need to understand that success is an obligation, success is a duty, and success is your responsibility. And I learned that from reading Grant Cardone's book 10x, where he talks about putting in 10 times the amount of effort and setting 10 times bigger goals to reach the life that you want to live. And he says that if you don't set success as an obligation as your responsibility, then it won't happen for you. Like for anyone, success isn't going to happen if you don't literally force it to happen and want it to. It's kind of like you're the one in charge of your life and you're living it. And if you're sitting back and watching it happen, then that success isn't ever going to come for you. And so if you don't set success as an obligation or as a responsibility for yourself, then like honest answer, it's not going to happen. Like everyone has, like, ask yourself the question, do you think you're living up to your full potential right now? Like no matter how old are you, do you think that what you've accomplished so far is your full potential? If not, then like you need to set success as your obligation and continue to push for that life that you want to live, and push for your dream. And maybe you don't know what it is right now, but I promise you, if you make this a habit and think about this every day, then you will find your mission and you'll find your goal that you want to do and push for. If you want to see real change in your life, then success isn't a choice. You need it, and it's your responsibility. I think the third thing that I want to talk about in this talk about perspective and the pursuit of happiness is just thinking about your own perspective on yourself and your own perspective on what like success means to you. Like for me, I feel like when like I was in high school and middle school, it was really easy for me to get into like a cycle of negativity where I'm like thinking that like I'm not good enough for like what it is that I wanted to do. Whether it was like I was like on the tennis team and I was on the robotics team, and like I felt like I was in a cycle of negativity where like you think if you're not good enough, you do bad, and then you think you're not good enough again and you do bad, and you keep doing that cycle over and over again, and it's like really hard to break out of it. But if you kind of take a step back and like look at your situation a bit more objectively, then like it's possible to kind of get out of that cycle. If you are interested in like this cycle of negativity talk, I read the book The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck, and the first couple chapters are literally about that. And if you feel like you're stuck in that like cycle, then I highly suggest reading that book. I feel like it was one of the first books that I've read when I started like getting into reading, and so I would suggest that if you feel like this, if you feel like you're stuck in that cycle, yeah, I feel like that like negativity cycle for anyone, it's like it doesn't matter like who you are, what you've done, like a lot of people are affected by it. And so yeah, that book helped me kind of like see it more objectively rather than it just letting it happen to me. I think another big thing for me was with like changing my perspective is like criticism from others and like social media. One of the things that I felt super self-conscious about like 2 years ago was dropping out of UCI. Like I felt at that time I felt like I was a failure, and like I failed my family, I failed my friends, I failed my colleagues. But the reality is like I'm just on a different path than like everyone else, and like your path might be different from like your best friend's path, and like that's okay. And I think once I realized that, it really helped me understand that like it's okay. I heard Gary Vee talk about something the other day while I was on my way to school, because I like listening to his podcast to and from like on my drives, and it was something about perspective. He talked about how like if you're like no, just think about like how much life that you have ahead of you. Like for example, like if you're in your 20s or in your 30s, like you still have 2 or 3 of your lives that you haven't lived yet. Like everything that you've experienced so far in life, it's gonna happen 2 or 3 more times before you die. And like if you feel like it's been like you've lived a long time already and you don't feel like you're where you should be because of a standard that you set yourself, then like why are you bothering, you know? And I kind of like told myself that, because like I feel like I should have graduated like 2 years ago, and like it sounds dumb when I talk about it, but like everyone's on their different path, and there's like you shouldn't judge anyone on like where they're at, and you shouldn't judge yourself. And really, I believe that like you are your biggest like critic, because the time when you feel the most like a failure is when you break a standard that you set on yourself. And so I think it's good to understand that maybe you need to take a step back and like look at yourself so that you can take 2 steps forward the next day. Also wanted to talk about a little bit more about the like pursuit of happiness and like pursuing something fulfilling to you. I think a lot of people get caught up in like what's gonna make me the most money, or what's gonna pay my bills. But if you think about like, imagine a world where the richest person was the happiest person. If you kind of think in that way, then no matter what you do, you're gonna live a fulfilling life. And yeah, you can force yourself, for example, not gonna like hate on anyone that's like becoming a nurse or like doing something like that, but like you can force yourself to go through like medical school and like become a nurse and be fine financially, but be super not content with like your life and what you're doing. And like this whole time, maybe you're thinking about doing something else. Maybe you're thinking about doing architecture, and like building was your passion, but because of the norm and like maybe your parents or your friends, like you decided to go that route and not do what you wanted to do for someone else. When if you tried architecture, then like you could have found something that might have made you the same amount of money. And I try to tell myself that like every day, that like, because I feel like I get really caught up in like what's gonna make me the most money, because like I want to make sure that my family is okay. But at the end of the day, you need to take care of yourself first before you can take care of others. Something that I feel like helped me be more grateful for the people in my life is making the decision every single day to be optimistic about like the rest of the day. Waking up and trying to force the good energy out of me, so that it just doesn't. I felt weird at first, but once that became a habit, I felt like I've been able to like live a more happier life. And so I would suggest that. Also, something that I've been doing to help me practice like gratitude is from like every single day I write down at the end of the day what I'm grateful for that day, whether it's like my family, my friends, and or like my school, or like being able to stream that day, or maybe like saying hi to someone, anything that like made my day or that I'm grateful for. Like I write it down, and like here's my jar where I keep like all the things that I'm grateful for, and at the end of the year I'm gonna read it like one by one, and like I don't know what the effect of that's gonna be like at the end, but it's something that I wanted to do because I feel like practicing gratitude will help put your mind in like that beautiful state. And I want to make sure that everyone that comes by to the stream like becomes better than the person that they were before. And I want to provide value in like all of your guys' lives outside of just gaming, you know? Because like, yeah, gaming is what we all share together, like as a passion of ours. But like, you got to make sure that your life outside of gaming is good too, because like I feel like for me at least that's what's gonna make me truly happy, you know, having it all. But yeah, I just really want to make sure that like everyone's getting some type of value from like coming through to my streams outside of just like gaming.
Give me that play by play. Who did